Good morning, everyone, and welcome on another Sunday to Coastal Connections with Courtney. Here we are at Riemann Family Funeral Home. Today we get to meet with the fourth generation, the president, Mr. Chad Riemann, the general manager, Mr. Addison Riemann. Good morning, everyone, and welcome on another Sunday to Coastal Connections with Courtney. We are so honored. Here we sit at Riemann Family Funeral Home. We get to meet today with Mr. Chad Riemann and Addison Riemann, who are two brothers. Mr. Chad, you are the president as well as the funeral director, and Addison, the general manager as well as funeral director.
That's right.
Very cool, and I want to hear all about the history. As we all know, y'all have been serving our community for 103 years.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Our great grandparents moved here from Michigan in 1920
1820.
and bought interest in a funeral home in downtown Gulfport. And the following year, they purchased the rest of the interest in the funeral home in Gulfport, and that's how we started. Our grandfather came into the business and really helped grow the business and to kind of what you saw pre-Katrina.
Yeah.
So our business, like a lot of others, has gone through a lot of changes, including where our chapels have been. So our grandfather was very instrumental in building facilities in each community on the coast. He felt it was really important for each community to have their own funeral home. So that's how our branches began. And of course, Katrina came through and changed our footprint. We lost 4 of 6 facilities during that storm. And over the last 18 years or so, we've rebuilt these facilities, and this is the latest here
beautiful.
On Lemoyne Boulevard in West Jackson County.
And how many locations do y'all now have?
We have 6 locations from Hancock County to Jackson County, and we have positioned them a little differently than they were before, just because our community has moved.
Sure.
A little bit differently than what it was when our grandfather and our dad and our uncle.
And y'all are the fourth generation. You know, y'all are such a family, historical, business that we depend on. Y'all been serving the community. 1920, I'm sure that the services have changed, they've grown, some things have worked, some haven't. What is the difference and how is the growth, contributing to our community? What do we need to know about that?
Yeah, Courtney, great question. So, times change. When we look over the years, we can look back and call it, traditional services, if you will. Most people years and years ago chose traditional services with a casket. And typically we had a wake or visitation the night before, whether that's at a church, the funeral home, or even maybe somebody's primary residence. We had a lot of that years ago. We don't see that very often nowadays. As we've moved on in time, we have seen things change. A lot of folks now are leaning more towards cremation. There's a lot of options around cremation. We can have an individual's body present for services and then do cremation after that. We can do the cremation first and have an urn present for the services. One thing that we're seeing a lot of families hire us to do now are receptions. So we have remodeled all of our facilities to be able to host receptions. whether that's food during a visitation or whether the family comes back to the funeral home to share fellowship and a meal. We really think that it takes a burden off of the families so that they don't have to clean up, or go out to
Absolutely.
a restaurant. So we like to be able to provide everything, for that whole day, to make a meaningful experience for our families that we serve.
Celebration of life is a term that you hear a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's what people, that's the term that people want to talk about now.
Right.
And so that funerals, people want an uplifting experience in the funeral service. And so by doing the receptions, as Addison said, it gives us an opportunity to do things a little differently, to add maybe live music or some special food or whatever the deceased may have been.
Are you seeing more of that now?
Absolutely.
Like the live music, they're turning it into let's celebrate and make this a happy, positive thing, and you celebrate the good times in life,
Yeah,
and y'all
you
provide that.
You give thanks for the gift of life.
I love that. And that's one of the ways that the services have changed over the years.
That's right.
And what, y'all been doing this for so long, 103 years serving the community. What makes y'all stand apart? Everyone talks about the service, the people, the different things y'all provide. What do you provide?
I think what makes us different, in this profession, you have to be a genuine caregiver. Mm-hmm. And you can't be in this profession unless you are.
Yeah, you'd have to be.
We have been very privileged from the beginning of time to have a staff that is that way. Our staff is head and shoulders the very best caregivers that we've ever been around. And what we do is made up of teams.
Okay.
We have different teams that take care of a family, and all of those teams have to work together in order to make it work. And we're a small part of that, but the teams that really support the family, that's what pulls it together, and that's how we're different. We've got the team in place that can care for someone like no other.
That phase of life, that it's inevitable, it's going to happen. Y'all make things very pleasant for people. Y'all provide support. Y'all provide planning. I think there's a lot of things that go into it that can, comfort us and make the process go easier with people like y'all. What things are here that could help me and my family if we want to go ahead and prepare for when that time happens?
I think it's important for people to understand some of the processes that we go through. From the outside looking in, we have facilities, we have hearses, we have all of these things that everybody sees and is familiar with. But really behind the scenes, the processes that we have in place helps us, I think it differentiates our service.
Right.
Because the expectations that we have for the service, it has to be the very best. And if we can walk away from a ceremony and know that there was nothing else we could have done any better, then we've done our job for that day. But the reality of it is there's always something that we can do better. And I think that's what drives us.
And that's how you're growing. Sure.
That's what drives us, because I feel like we can always find a better way or a more creative way or something that's going to be more meaningful to that family, because this memory, we do this one time. Mm-hmm. So that memory has to be everlasting, and we want it to be the very best that it can be. Our processes that we have in place help us accomplish that. So of course you have to have behind the scenes things to make the ending be successful. And we have some of those processes, in particularly with cremation. We have some very, very strict standards and checklists and processes in place to make sure that process is done in the most professional and dignified manner that it can be. We own our own crematory, and ironically, not every funeral service provider does, but they all offer cremation. So we feel like because we have control of that process, there's a value there. and there's a level of trust with us that you can depend on.
Right, and y'all provide so many different things. How soon, you don't have to be sick or expecting a death, how soon should you start preparing? And like at a young age, or are you seeing more of the norm doing things like that to make the process smoother and easier in life?
When one talks about planning, we plan everything in our lives.
Yeah.
We plan for college, we plan for children, we have car insurance, we have homeowners insurance, we have life insurance, we have wills, and we set up our estates, and we do all of these things in preparation for in case the worst happens. But the one thing a lot of people don't take advantage of is the opportunity to go ahead and talk about their wishes with their family and then pre-plan those. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give your family. And because some of those decisions are really difficult when they're left to someone that loves you.
Right, and just got the news, devastating news, yeah.
So the other good thing about pre-planning is that when you do choose to pre-plan, your wishes, some of them are protected by law. And that can be a very important thing based on family dynamics. So the more that you have prepared, the better the chances are what you want to happen is going to actually happen.
And when you come to that distinguishes y'all from other funeral homes, if I called y'all, I have talked to y'all personally. My people, when my grandparents, we've lost certain things. At all times, y'all answer the phone. Tell me a little bit about that and how y'all stay so personal within the community.
Well, it's important to have the community's trust, and in order to build trust, you have to have relationships. And so we feel that staying active in the community helps us build those relationships and create new ones. So, providing funeral service, like you mentioned, is something that you have to be called to do.
Absolutely,
when a family calls on us, we have to be there and we have to answer the phone. So we always answer our phone. Actually, most funeral homes have an answering service. We don't have that. We're still old school. We still answer our own phones.
Y'all are known for that. That is, and that's why people love y'all, because that's what we long for today as the world's changing and you get 1-800 numbers. That time in your life, if you call, you usually need to talk to somebody.
That's exactly
And Riemann
right.
Funeral Home picks up the phone, and y'all have been here for 103 years. And not only that, y'all do a lot for our community. Y'all do a lot for the state of Mississippi. And we're about out of time at the first segment, so we're going to take a quick break. But I'd like to touch on that and your passion for the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So thank you, everyone, and we will be right back.
World-famous dance crew, the Jabberwockies, is coming to Beau Rivage this summer with their newest show, Timeless. Visit beaurivage.com for tickets and VIP packages.
Thank you for calling J. Allen Toyota Service.
This is what happens when you set an appointment at J. Allen Toyota Service. We will order the part right then, so it'll be here when your appointment comes. Our greeter staff will greet you quickly and friendly and top off your fluids before your car even leaves the drive. Then your car will go to one of our 6 two-man express teams or one of our 10 certified technicians so they can get you back on the road safely and quickly. This is service the way it should be at J. Allen Toyota Service.
Thank you, South Mississippi, for making us your #1 Ford dealer on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. 39 years strong of quality sales, service, and parts. Don't forget, we'll beat your best deal regardless.
Visit the Gulf Coast's newest casino.
Come in today and experience the beautiful smoke-free Beachview Casino.
Pick your game. We have your favorite slots and table games and a sports book.
Enjoy incredible views while you dine at one of our many restaurants.
And grab a drink while you enjoy live entertainment every weekend in the heart of the action.
The Gulf Coast's newest, the smoke-free Beachview Casino Resort, Gulfport.
Are a beacon of healing, resolute and consistent, determined. We are problem solvers, driven to overcoming obstacles, unshakable. We are prepared, capable, experienced, unbeatable. We are a network of people providing care throughout your lifetime. We are believers in the healing power of compassion. We are Memorial.
We're back from the break, and y'all are very entrenched in the communities. Let's start with the numerous boards that y'all serve on. And I also would like you to tell me a little bit about the implementation. I saw on the news that Governor Reeves appointed and confirmed you for the Mississippi State Funeral Board. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm honored to be selected to do that, and the Senate confirmed the appointment this session. So I'll have a 4-year term to be able to serve on the Mississippi State Board of Funeral Service, and that way I'll be able to serve our state and our citizens. Continue to do that in another way. It's a volunteer position after you get.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity to serve our peers as well, and our citizens of the state, to ensure that funeral service is all that it is meant to be, and proud to be able to help with that.
And you do that you do that voluntarily. On the side, you're listening to our needs and you're speaking on behalf of everyone.
So the board is charged with taking care of citizens' needs. Our legislature has statutes that pertain to funeral service, and so the boards has regulations related to those statutes. And so when we meet, we discuss all of that, and if there are situations within the state that come up that need attention, then our board will discuss them and take action where necessary.
Well, I love that, and I saw that on the news. I definitely wanted to touch on that because I knew it was an honor, but I wasn't really sure what all entailed and what your responsibilities were. What all do y'all do for the Mississippi Gulf Coast? I know y'all born and raised here. Y'all love it, but y'all give back. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I think giving back in a community is essential. So we're all here to serve one another. That's our purpose.
Sure.
So if we can do that in different aspects, then that's what we're here. All of us are here to do. Years ago, I was approached by another local community leader, and she says, "I'd like to do something at the National Cemetery around Christmas time." And I said, "Okay, what do you want to do?" She goes, "I want to cover every grave with a wreath." And I said, "I think that's a fantastic idea."
I love that.
So we got to work, and it took us a little while to get going, but Wreaths for Biloxi National Cemetery was created. It's a 501c3 charity, and that we have a board that covers, that meets and takes care of the planning and the execution of that event, and we have a lot of volunteers that help us with that event. And for the last several years, we've been able to cover every grave out there at Christmas time.
Oh, wow.
And have a little ceremony and again.
And provide experience and bring the loved ones back to the memories and the presence of their loved ones. How many years has this been going
10
on?
years, yeah.
10 years.
10 years. And we also have a program that we co-founded. It's called Bow Ties and Beignets. Bow Ties and Beignets was founded to help children in our community, and it has. It's donated a lot of money. It's a 501c3 as well, and that particular charity it's a morning event, and there's not really any other event like that. So we usually hold that at about 7 or 7:30 in the morning, and by 8 or 9, it's over. But it's different. It's not at night. It's not anything like that. It's a morning event. We usually have some comedy provided during it, and it's been a very successful way to promote children's needs in our community.
And that is a very strong need that we need right now, and y'all do that. Y'all are providing so much for the community, the whole Riemann Funeral Services. Why do y'all love the coast and do this on a daily basis?
Well, the coast is home, Courtney. Both of us were born and raised here. Left for a little bit to go to college, but came back to serve families. Again, I think it's a calling to serve folks, especially in this capacity. We were talking about how we have a large veteran population here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and Chad mentioned an event that we do around Christmas. But another event that we do for veterans in November, we take about 150 to 200 veterans and spouses over to the World War II Museum in New Orleans for the day, and then bring them back. And it is remarkable. You walk through that museum. We usually have at least one World War II vet that goes with us. And seeing their experience and going through that museum with them is unbelievable. It's like a feeling like no other. And those guys gave everything. So, for us to be able to give back to them a little bit, we feel is very important.
So on top of running this business, y'all listen to the needs of the community, and y'all do things on the side as well. You always have your hands involved. And I have been so interested in knowing about the services. I'll see a new location, a new billboard, 6 locations right now, 4th generation of a family business, providing all of these things and the needs for us. But I sometimes, you don't even know what your need might be. You don't even know that there are people with a grief support group. There are people that I could call rather than just grieve alone. I could go ahead and plan for finances with that. Don't worry about the food. It's already done. People like you provide that. And, because if you get a call right in the middle of something, tragedies happen. But Riemann Funeral Home offers all of those things. And I wanted the coast to kind of hear about those different things. And since 1920, they've all changed.
Funeral services changed a lot. But I think what hasn't changed is the commitment to the needs of the family. So we have to be able to change with those needs. It's just like anything else in our life.
And continue growing.
It changes, yeah. And the one thing that is for certain, out of all of the things I mentioned previously about the things we plan for in life, the one thing that you are going to need and you will use is your pre-planned funeral arrangement.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So the sooner that is done, there's benefits to you for doing that. Not only does it relieve that anxiety and take that burden off your shoulders because those decisions are made, but it's also it can be a significant financial savings for the family by doing it by pre-planning, because it locks in the price at the price that you do it for. And there's nothing else out there like that.
There isn't.
So it's a huge benefit to the family.
And do you get to know these people, the families, on a personal basis? Do you stay in touch with them?
Yeah, we do. Again, as I mentioned earlier, trust is something that we want our families to be able to have in us. So we want our families to be able to trust us, and in creating that trust, you have to develop a relationship. And so, another way that funeral services changed over the years is personalization. So there used to only be, a handful of caskets to choose from. Everybody got the same registry book, so on and so forth. Well, now everything can be themed. We have DVDs that we do, slideshows, any kind of music. We invite families to bring memorabilia or their loved one's favorite item to the funeral, and we'll display that so that we can really bring out their loved one's personality. And so there's not a right or wrong way to do things. Every service is unique. It's personal to one's wishes. And you asked a little bit ago, is there a certain age that you should be looking at this? Unfortunately, we see deaths at all ages.
Right.
And regardless of your age and regardless if you have a prearrangement or not, I think it's very important to have the conversation of what your wishes are with your family, regardless if you put a prearrangement in place or not, just so that someone else at least knows what your wishes are in case, a tragic moment may occur.
We're constantly growing and developing, and you have to stay on the cutting edge. Where do you see Riemann Funeral Homes going in the future?
That's a very good question.
And I know a lot of things are happening, but where do you see us headed?
Well, with our move into receptions and more celebratory type services, I think that's going to grow. I think that's going to be, we're going to have to change even more so to provide venues and to provide the services that are going to be meaningful to people.
It is, and that kind of, I've been to a few, but it's definitely different when you're invited to a reception for a celebratory life. Wow, things have sure changed, but we got to keep up with it and embrace it. Right. And it's provided here on the coast, and it's not just traditional, Southern. Y'all are keeping us on the cutting edge and showing us a different way to look at it and to prepare.
That's right. Yeah.
So what would you tell the coast if there was something that I needed to know when I was, trying to make that deciding factor, where I wanted to place my family and, where I wanted to be committed to? What is so special about your service?
The difference is that we care. Our team cares. We're always available. We answer our phone Riemann service for a reason, and our grandparents would have it no other way.
Oh, well, I know they're just smiling down, and y'all are so good at what you do. And I said, do you stay in touch with everybody? But you're at every event. Everybody loves y'all. We rely on you, depend on you. And when that time comes, which is going to come for all of us, we can be prepared. We can have a reception. We don't need to worry about the food or flowers. We can call you up and say, what do we do? It's our time. And, and embrace it and know that we have support. And 6 locations. We are moving and developing on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And I'm just grateful that y'all have told us a little bit about the history, 103 years serving the coast, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you all for tuning in on another Sunday to Coastal Connections with Courtney.